been cooking since I was 19, but I've been in the restaurant business since I was 18, um, and I'm a chef. Got into the restaurant business like right after high school. Just started working at like a neighborhood bar and grill. Was there for a year, and eventually the chef there was like, hey, we need help on the line, come work. And I was making tips, and it was like, you know, it was good, but it was inconsistent. It was tips just as like a food runner. So I was like, you know, if I could just make a set wage, I wasn't thinking about it as anything other than just like a set wage. I'll be like, I'll figure out something to do later. I don't want to be a chef. I'll figure out something later,
Yeah.
you know? Like eventually I just, you know, I had to move on because I wanted more. So I worked for Chroma in Lake Nona, was there for like almost 2 years. One of my friends that I met there, James, he was one of my other line cooks, he got a job at Norman's. He was like, I'm gonna go work here. Like they're like, you know, super legit, like fine dining. Like we got a tasting menu, blah, blah. I was like, all right, dude, like that sounds like really cool. So I didn't think that I was like qualified enough. Like I was just started cooking, you know, a couple years ago. He kind of went to culinary school. He kind of had like more of a background already, worked at a couple of more restaurants. So like I said, I didn't think I was qualified enough. So I just like asked him how he got the job, and he was like, oh, I had to do a stage. I was like, what's a stage? And he was like, oh, it's like a French term for like a trial. You go and you work, and the chef's gonna tell you basically like if you're good enough, or he thinks, you know, your skills are good enough, or even if it's more for you too, like if you like the place, or
kind of like to try it out.
Yeah,
just
it's like
waters.
an apprenticeship type thing, but it's more of like a 1 or 2 day. Sometimes it could be like, sometimes an apprenticeship can be like, you know, a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple years, but a stage is more of just like a 1 or 2 day thing. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, I want to do that, but I don't really want to leave Chroma yet. Like I was still happy with where I was at. So I just staged. I was like, hey, can I just do this for like educational purposes? Like I just want to come. I emailed the chef, sent him my resume, and he let me come in on my days off. Like I showed up like for 4 weeks and just worked on my days off. Like eventually somebody left and was like, hey, we're gonna basically just like give you her position. So I was like, all right, so I just transitioned.
So all of this has been like as you go. Like you didn't go to school for it.
Didn't go to school.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Right after high school, I just
jumped in.
I jumped in, and I didn't start even like at Valencia or anything yet. Like I just was like, I'm just gonna figure out what I want to do. I don't want to jump in, waste money on school that I don't know what I want to do yet. So I tried to figure that out while I was working in the restaurant, and I just fell into being a chef by basically falling in love with food at Norman's. Like they showed me what, you know, the rest of the world was like doing with like fine dining and stuff. You know, like we had really cool chefs come from all over to come and give us recipes. They worked with us on events. A lot of places don't have the time to teach you and like stop and teach you, so you just have to be like observant, you know. Like that's why a lot of places like would rather you go to culinary school, because they're not in school.
I've always thought like it's kind of impossible to really train somebody in that environment. You kind of just have to know what you're doing and be familiar with the terms and the process.
I mean, it's definitely a lot of that. It's
even though every restaurant has like their own ways of doing things, I would assume, you know?
Yeah.
On the topic of Norman's, I mean, like you had like your own recipes on there. What was that like, and being able to get up to that process from just doing the stage?
Yeah.
You know?
So it was time for a new tasting menu. It was a seasonal thing. So the spring tasting menu came up, and we were changing the spring normal menu, the a la carte menu. So one of my chefs, he is actually a good friend of mine still, and actually my chef now at London House where I'm at. He sat us all down and was like, all the line cooks, and was like, hey, you know, I want everybody to be in on this next menu. Like I want everybody's ideas, I want everybody's creations on our spring tasting menu. So we all sat down and we planned for like a couple days of just like how we were gonna, you know, put all of our ideas together onto this one menu, which is like 6 dishes, 6 courses. So, you know, I ended up landing like 2 or 3 recipes on there, and it was really cool, you know. And then on the same thing with the a la carte menu, I had gotten, I had a lot of these ideas were just like experiments that I presented, and my chefs kind of fell in love with, and they were like, we're gonna use that. And it's kind of like, we take it and then like it becomes like ours now, you know. It's because I wasn't like the chef there. It wasn't like I could have my, you know, my name on that. It's kind of just becomes like a Norman's dish, but it's still, you know, I'm still like grateful to give them that. Like, I'm happy by it because it's, you know, it's always gonna make me, you know, better. So like I said, it was a cool experience. How many different menus we did, like it was super super humbling as well when we got nominated for the James Beard Award, which is like the Oscars of the food world. It's like only an American award, and there's a couple of different categories. There's, you know, best chef, and then there's different best chef regions, and then there's best restaurant, and we had got nominated with 20 other restaurants in America for outstanding restaurant, and it was like super humbling just to like get our name on that list, and like something that I would dream of, you know, in the future that I would want for myself, you know, like I would want a James Beard for my restaurant in the future. So like, just for me to like go to Norman's, dip my toes in like to that, you know, scene of like elevated culinary, and then getting that, you know, it's like super cool. So it made me want more and more. And like after Norman's, my my chef got a position at Nieto, and my chef that was at Norman's got a position at Nieto, and he offered me the sous chef position under him to help him out. So I got promoted to go there, worked at Nieto. It was my first like Japanese restaurant, so I wasn't really, you know, I know Asian food, but I'm not Japanese. I haven't worked, I don't have that background. So it was super cool to start that experience.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, like I was able to take a trip to New York on a culinary experience with the owners, like to learn more about Asian food. And a little bit over a year ago, it was like at the end of May, I decided that I wanted to leave Nieto, and I moved on to the Ravenous Pig. The Ravenous Pig is like one of my favorite restaurants in Orlando, and I've loved it for years. I've always told myself, like, if I could work at a restaurant just because I love it so much, it would be that one. And I did. I was like, this is where I want to work now. I need to go here.
Yeah, you manifested it.
Yeah, exactly. So I manifested working on the Ravenous Pig, and I did.
So yeah, you've gotten the experience at Norman's, Nieto, the Ravenous Pig.
Yeah.
And you're currently at...
Now so I got an offer to go to the London House, which is a private members club.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah,
that's pretty insane.
So it's a really, it's cool. It's members only. You pay a price, like a very hefty price to go there, and it's a yearly membership. It's a dining experience, a bar. We have.
And what are you doing there right now?
So right now I'm a junior sous chef.
Okay.
So I got an offer to go be a junior sous chef. They have a huge operation where they need 7 chefs on salary. We have 2 pastry chefs, and they're included in the chefs. We have my executive chef who runs the whole show, and then an executive sous chef, a regular sous chef, and then 2 junior sous chefs.
Okay.
It's a lot, and you know, our members are there. They love it. You know, they're there almost every single day, and we have to change things up so much. So our ideas have to, you know, to impress them. Like, so every single day we're doing something brand new, I mean, we don't have a new menu every single day, but we have probably a new event that we're gonna do every single day.
How much is the membership? You said it's annually, right?
It's annually. It's like more than $20,000 a year. Yeah.
Would you say like that this has been like the most challenging portion of your journey thus far? Yeah, like I said, like we have to accommodate for so much because of you know, a lot of the times this type of place is for people to, it's for them to socialize and for them to hang out, but it's more of like an impressing factor. So they want people, they bring, you know,
their clients or whoever they're trying to impress, their guests, their friends to this place, and they want something extravagant that is almost different every single time so that it's blowing them away and the members, because they sell it as an experience that you can't get anywhere else. And,
wow.
it is.
You work at the London House now, but like your side endeavor that you are like trying to actively pursue is Holden's Whole Hogs.
Yes, I am working on my next project, which is Holden's Whole Hogs, and it's just this barbecue pop-up.
Yeah.
It's just a restaurant on the go. I'm gonna pop up. I'm gonna try and think about, you know, different ways. For right now, I have, you know, my set place where I'm gonna do it at the Commission Beer Chamber off of Curry Ford in Bumby. I'm gonna be there for the first couple pop-ups.
How was the time that you prepared it for the first time with like your friends? Because you did like a barbecue here at your house.
Yeah, so I had a couple friends over. It was like not enough to eat the whole pig. We had so much left over, but it was a crazy experience. I cooked it completely by myself.
Yeah, and you spent like the whole night doing it.
Yeah, I just got off of work one night. I bought the pig, you know, bought all the ingredients days in advance. Got home one night, had the next day off, and I, you know, started the grill. I got off at 11:30 midnight and started the grill at like 1 in the morning, and got the pig on at 3, flipped it by 10:30 a.m., stayed up all night, sat next to it, and then by 3 the next day it was done.
Wow.
So it was a 12-hour pig, and that's the process. It's just low and slow, and I think that you know, that's the best way. I don't know why, but I'm so in love with that. Like just staying up all night and cooking that pig, just for some reason it's like meditation. Like I can just like not have to worry about anything, focus on that pig, and then the next day, like all the hard work is done, and the next day I get to sell it, give it away, eat it, and I don't have to do anything. I want it to be super no frills and just like super minimal, a lot of outside seating, not really any inside seating, kind of just like grabbing like deli counter style, like you're just gonna come up, make a line, order it, sit outside type deal. But I want it just to be like, you know, in one of these neighborhoods that I'm living in, like I'm in, you know, the Conway area or the downtown area. So any of these cool, I have a lot of like other people in this area that are starting cool concepts up that I would just love to be a part of and help, you know, just bring the community
together.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say the community together, just because if I can just start out with the pop-up, it goes successful, I think that that's just the next step. Because I do want to own my own restaurant one day, and I do think that a great, you know, brick and mortar style idea like that would just help me like set up for the next step, which is a full-fledged restaurant, you know, like, so I think I've been trying to put, like you said, trying to put my affairs in order so that it all just falls into place, because I don't want to rush things. I am super young. I'm only 24. So, you know, doing all this, being a chef now, like it's a lot, working at full-time at a private members club, like it's a lot. So trying to not rush myself, but also trying to push myself so I don't sit still, you know?
Get yourself out of the comfort zone.
Exactly. Get myself out of the comfort zone. Exactly. We just get comfortable. That's the problem, is a lot of people are like, I mean, myself included, like I get like this all the time, to where I'm like so comfortable, like I just don't want change, because like change is scary, you know, but most of the time change is the best thing for you. You know, you're always going to be better off with whatever's changing.
It's the only way that we can kind of grow, because and I mean, I'm surprised that you even say that, because you've been in different places, and I mean, you're aware to know that like you want to challenge yourself. It's
definitely a challenge, you know, to feel like that, you know, because like I'm conscious of that, you know, that I shouldn't sit still, and that I shouldn't be comfortable, but I at the same time, like I kind of sometimes like get loyal to a place. I'm like, you know
Oh,
what,
of course, yeah,
you know, these people are my family, you know, like I try and to, you know, like not,
That's something I didn't even think about. And that's something subconsciously I feel now, like at
your job.
Yeah, because I've known them for so long, and a few of them I've worked for like all the 6 years.
Exactly.
And it's like, damn, I don't want to leave.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's hard to leave them, especially when it's like people you work for so long, you know, they have never like wronged you or anything. And it's like, it's not really, you know, it's not really to the extent of that, you know, you're counting everybody's wrongs or rights, but it's, you know, I sometimes find myself whenever I'm putting in my 2 weeks somewhere, I'm like, I feel so guilty for some reason. I'm like, I don't want to leave. Like, I feel like I'm doing them wrong so bad, but it's always,
at the end of the day, it's your life.
It's like, always better for you. Yeah. It's whatever you need to do because you're going to know what's right. You know, like I've never regretted ever putting in a 2 weeks anywhere. Like it's always been a better opportunity every time.
Always been a step forward.
Always,
as it should be, and as it typically always will be.
Yeah,
and even if you ever find yourself in a position where it's like you feel like it's a step back, like it's only learning from like the experience. Like people talk about like failure and what's failure. Failure is really just like learning. You know what you could do better next time, and it's not really necessarily like a loss. You know, if you can look at it and see like, okay, this I can do better, or I can do this differently. Not even better, because sometimes that kind of creates that connotation of like you did a bad job or whatever. It's just like do things differently, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. Restaurants that it's like, you know, whenever you think you're ready, you're still not. Like for anything, opening a day, you know, like just opening for breakfast, like whatever it is, you're never going to be ready. There's so much components to everything. It's always huge group effort for every restaurant, every place it's like, that's why a lot of places, like I was saying, loyalty and stuff, like you always work as a family or as a team because
of course.
There's always so much group effort. So like I was saying, Holds Whole Hogs, like doing it by myself, at first it's going to be tough. Definitely I'm going to need help like by my friends and family, like to help me out with like events and things. So I'm super grateful for them.
You're absolutely going to have the support.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you'll see that immediately. Like people are always going to be willing to support you, and sometimes it'll even surprise like who is going to support me.
Yeah,
you know?
And
it might be people you don't even expect.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you said that it's kind of like meditation, because when I think of like cooking or just like in the kitchen, I feel like it's one of the most stressful jobs or like careers in the world.
Well, so that's how I've felt like being on a line, being in a kitchen, being like a chef, super, you know, like pressure's on you, and on the other way around, like I'm having to put pressure onto people as a chef, you know.
Yeah, like, does it get like as hostile as everybody says?
I mean, not as crazy, but there has been moments where, you know, like it's passionate and you know, people get upset and they want, you know, they don't have any other outlet at the moment except to get crazy and yell, throw something, or, you know, freak out. And I think that it's like it's something in the kitchen that's slowly getting like pushed away. Like it's kind of like an old school thing.
Yeah.
Chefs being mean and tough on you. It's kind of like, you know, people are realizing like, you know, all the mental health issues, and like there's a big thing about like, you know, chefs having mental health issues and not getting the right treatment and just like not having, you know, good healthcare in general, and just malnourishing like their fucking brain, everything, you know, just by the hard work that it is just standing up and
standing all
over
day.
a flame.
You guys do like 12-hour shifts.
Yeah, exactly. Just like beating up our bodies all day. So it's definitely tough. Like it's tough on your brain and your body.
Right.
And it's just, I know like where people come from when they, you know, can have a episode or freak out. So it doesn't happen all the time, and I think it's something that's getting more of like people are realizing like just being calm with people is kind of better. So that's something that's getting introduced now.
Mm-hmm. Everything can kind of get so passive with the information that we digest that we kind of get desensitized, or like we're insensitive to certain situations. So when we hear about X, Y, and Z that's going on, it's not even that we are not able to relate or feel empathy for the situation. It's just we hear so much of it all the time that it's kind of like, okay, get this video, get this, da, 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 da. Like we're trying to just make sure that we get it out and broadcast it, that you can't even think and like process what is actually happening sometimes, unless you really take a moment to go outside, think, you know, be alone and really like digest. Yeah. And you know, after that, like you just kind of had to develop the tough skin, and you just kind of, because otherwise you're going to always be like distracted, or you know. Yeah. And I wonder if it's similar, you know, in that experience, like with the fast pace, the pressure, you know, the chaos. And I know that you said that people have been introducing the concept of like, yo, let's really try our best to be in unity, in synergy, and like we're a team, so we cannot be lashing out on each other. But sometimes when you get those comments or when people freak out, you kind of just, you kind of suppress it, like any emotion that you have, you know?
Definitely. Definitely gets like that, especially like when you're saying, like when you're just getting like yelled at, you're just like stuck on whatever it was that you're yelled at for. You're messing up a steak, messing up a side dish, whatever it was. You know, you automatically, you know, whether it's something that was said, like whatever way that the chef yelled at you, it could have been like derogatory, you know, because I've seen I've seen it get bad to where he just, you know, yells whatever is coming out of his mouth, and not, you know, I don't think that it's anything bad. I think it's more of just like a shock factor thing, like I'm more dominant than you type thing. Like I'm just gonna say something to scare you so that you give me your food faster. So I don't know, but that's the way a lot of chefs kind of seem. So like if a chef's ever yelling at you and just kind of like curses at you and like calls you like a mean name or whatever, and you kind of don't know if you should like stop and like, you know, contemplate life or continue to fix the mess up that you made, you know? So it's, I know that feeling. It's kind of like, you know, how do you maintain? And that's what a lot of, you know, just people that I think are coming out from like our generation, they're starting to like, you know, get older.
We're setting boundaries.
We're running kitchens now. Yeah. We're running the news stations or whatever it is, and we're eventually going to implement the rules that we think would be better, you know? So you know, a less stressful environment, whether it's the chef yelling at you because you messed up the steak or whatever it was, you know, like that, those little things. And I've heard a story of like a chef opening a new restaurant, and he's gonna, you know, put like a mental health therapist for all his line cooks and the surrounding restaurants to come and go. And it was like a free service, you know, for the local. So thought that was cool, you know, because it's like, it's when I see something like that, maybe that influences me to do the same thing, you know. When I open up my restaurant in a couple of years or whatever it may be, it's just like little ideas, like nothing's really original, so everybody's trying to
kind of pulling ideas from everyone and just trying to make things different each time, you know.
Especially with this, you know, concept of mental health, you know, because it's super like that whole Gordon Ramsay-esque like kitchen scene is common. Everybody thinks of that, like you were saying, like, and it's like that. Yeah, I've seen chefs yell, I've seen chefs be dickheads and unnecessary, but it's I think now people are starting to realize that it's not healthy and it's not the way to go about things anymore. So it's definitely, it's cool to see that. It's definitely cool to see that.